Workers in California came together in solidarity to fight on behalf of the United Farm Workers. In fact, they had walked out and they marched over 350 miles to support a pro-union bill. Now, this grueling walk took 24 days, and much of it was in scorching heat. But the farmers accomplished their goal thanks to the solidarity that was shown by the community of workers that joined them in this effort. So why do California farm workers want protections against anti-union employers? Well, I think the answer should be obvious, but I'll give you some more detail. Last year, we covered a story involving the Supreme Court essentially reversing some of the gains farm workers had made in this state. So the state regulation issued in 1975 and unique in the nation allowed union organizers to meet with agricultural workers at work sites in the hour before and after work and during lunch breaks for as many as 120 days a year. But the Supreme Court unfortunately struck that California state regulation down. And so now farm workers are asking for the state legislature and Gavin Newsom to pass something known as California Bill AB 2183. So what's in this bill? Assembly Bill 2183, also known as California's Agricultural Labor Relations Voting Act, would give agricultural workers either the right to vote on union representation by mail or to gain representation by unions through a card check or similar process. Now, here's the bad news. Last year, in 2021, Gavin Newsom actually refused to sign a similar version of this bill. That was in September of 2021. And he alleged, get a load of this, that he thinks the bill should alert employers of union activity as soon as one worker requests a ballot. Now, John, can you explain to me why that would actually be very bad, very, very bad for workers who are looking to unionize?
I think it's designed to make it so that the corporations have as much time as possible to leap to their own defense, to start propagandizing against the effort, possibly fire the one person who's looking to organize. That's the beginning, I think. What do you think?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the reason why workers organize in secret is because they know that they could be retaliated against by their employer once their employer figures out that they're trying to organize or unionize. And you're right, they could either face retaliation or the place of employment will start implementing, union busting tactics, those mandatory meetings where they're given all this nonsense and propaganda about why it's a bad idea to, organize and have worker power at your place of work. So that's the reason why it would work against them. So the fact that Gavin Newsom mentioned that gives you a sense of where his head is at when it comes to this type of legislation. And for what it's worth, Biden has publicly endorsed this new bill, and we'll see if Newsom will be willing to sign the newer version of it. Now, last Cesar Chavez Day, March 31st, Newsom refused to meet with farm workers. Not a good sign. They wanted to discuss the bill. Newsom wouldn't do it. And since Newsom wouldn't budge, the United Farm Workers planned their protest walk. And along the way, the farm workers, this is the part that I love. This is what I want to see more of. Along the way, the farm workers were supported by other workers and activists, as you see in the video. And I know that there are upsides and downsides to social media, but this is what I love about TikTok. When these kinds of stories and these kinds of videos are shared, it just gives me a little bit of hope in what feels like a hopeless world, right? Where people are coming together. Some of the workers who joined them in this march to Sacramento were construction workers. It's just really great to see. And let's just acknowledge how incredibly difficult this march was, because it was hot. It was over multiple weeks, but they came together, they got it done, they sent a message, and I wanted to give them some credit for that. Now, I also don't want to get our hopes up too much. Since launching his first campaign for governor, Newsom, who co-founded a winery in Napa, has received donations totaling nearly $1 million from the agriculture industry, according to Open Secrets. That number doesn't include funds raised to fight his recall, which included $250,000 from Stuart and Linda Resnick, billionaire agribusiness owners of the Wonderful Company. Doesn't sound so wonderful to me. But to be fair, and this is an important update to a story we did last week, Newsom did sign that fast food workers bill that we had covered, known as AB 257, or the Fast Recovery Act. He signed it on Labor Day, which I kind of love. The bill would create a new 10-member fast food council with equal numbers of workers, delegates, and employers' representatives, along with 2 state officials, empowered to set maximum standards for wages, hours, and working conditions in California. An amendment in AB 257 would allow the minimum wage for fast food workers to jump to $22 an hour compared to the statewide minimum of $15.50 an hour. And for our friends living in the middle of the country who think, wow, $15.50, that's much higher than the federal minimum wage, you also have to take into account the extremely high cost of living in a state like California.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Nationally, gas is like below $3.80 on average. It's still, I pay over $5 still. So there's a percentage that you have to pay extra. That's good. I would want to dig into the details there. When is that jump going to happen? It's $7 extra, but over the course of how many years? And, that's where you get into, it potentially not being as amazing as it might seem. The thing is, Gavin Newsom definitely plans to run for president, probably 100%. Sooner rather than later. And he definitely wants to pitch himself as some sort of progressive. And he's done a few things to try to burnish that reputation. But this is almost honestly the most important part, because this isn't like, he did some stuff to make California a sort of sanctuary state when it comes to abortion access or something. That's good. And also not that difficult to do when you're the governor of California. You can do that. It's not politically risky in any way. It's politically risky? Sticking a thumb in the eye of someone who donated $250,000 to you or something like that. So now there's money on the line. It's not an easy thing where, honestly, doing the abortion access thing, that doesn't just, it's easy. It makes you look better. It probably improves your chances, whether you to run again here in California or nationally. Do the difficult things. Stand with the actual workers. Do a bit of that march the next time it happens, and then give them what they want. Take it seriously. If he's only willing to do the stuff that looks good, that's effectively good virtue signaling, it's beneficial, but it's mainly done for the virtue signaling part of it, the political purity virtue signaling part, then he's not really the progressive he wants you to believe. And people are trying to figure out, what the lineup is going to be like in 2024. We have an idea of who Gavin Newsom is. He potentially has time to modify that, but he's going to have to act right on issues like this.
Yes. I am not a fan of Gavin Newsom. I think I've been clear on that in the past. We'll see what happens in 2024, but I'll reserve my commentary and analysis for that once we have a better idea of who the likely Democratic candidates will be.